Okay. Hello and welcome to the 2026 SUNY Online Summit. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Kim Scalzo, and I'm Senior Associate Provost for Digital Innovation and Academic Services at SUNY System Administration. And it is my pleasure to introduce our speakers for the last session on day 2, which has been all about students and student support. In this session, you're going to hear from two of my colleagues here at SUNY System about the work they are doing in supporting SUNY learners through system-wide innovation. Our first speaker is Valerie Dent. Valerie was appointed Vice Chancellor for Community Colleges at the State University of New York System in July of 2025, and in this role, she is responsible for advancing SUNY policies and initiatives in support of the 30 community colleges across the system, working to strengthen access, equity, and student success. Valerie brings extensive leadership experience within SUNY, having previously served as Associate Vice Chancellor and Chief Deputy for Student Success, Interim Chief Diversity Officer, and Deputy Chief Operating Officer. She also has a distinguished record of public service in the New York State government, serving from 2013 to 2020 as First Deputy Commissioner of the New York State Division of Human Rights. Valerie is a graduate of Vanderbilt University, where she earned a degree in economics, and Columbia University School of Law, where she earned her JD. Our second speaker is Casey O'Brien. Casey serves as the Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Success and Transformational Initiatives at SUNY System Administration. And in this role, Casey provides senior leadership for the effective planning, implementation, expansion, and assessment of system-wide student success programs and transformational initiatives designed to improve the academic momentum, retention, and completion rates of SUNY students, with a focus on scaling evidence-based practices for underserved populations. Casey is responsible for leading SUNY's Academic Momentum campaign and SUNY's replication of the highly successful ASAP and ACE evidence-based completion program. His portfolio also includes SUNY's Office of Higher Education in the Prison. Prior to joining SUNY System Administration, Casey served in a variety of leadership roles at Columbia Green Community College, most recently as their Dean of Academic Affairs and Interim Chief Academic Officer. He is a student-focused educational leader possessing a background in assessment, strategic planning, accreditation, instructional technology, and data-informed best practices. Casey holds a Bachelor of Science degree in biology from Siena College, a Master of Public Health degree in epidemiology from the University of Albany, and a Doctor of Education degree in executive leadership from St. John Fisher University. He currently resides in Slingerlands, New York, with his wife Sarah, a daughter Charlotte, and golden retriever Winnie. And we talked a little bit earlier about showing dogs and cats here. I did want to say that Valerie and Casey are going to take questions at the end of the session. So please put your questions in the chat or hang on to them to the end, and we'll come back to them after they are done with their presentation. With that, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to turn it over now to Valerie, who will get us started.
Thank you, Kim. It's great to see everyone, and thank you so much for having us. I didn't know that there was actually a dog requirement in the bio, so I will actually just add that I am the proud dog mom of Journey, who is a chocolate lab. So I can bring pictures next time.
Yes.
So thank you so much for having us. And as Kim mentioned, I'm Valerie Dent. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Community Colleges at SUNY System Administration, and where I oversee the Office of Community Colleges. I'm happy to be with you today, of course, and to share some exciting updates on SUNY Reconnect, our new initiative providing free community college to adult learners in high demand areas. Our office is proud to lead the implementation of this critical initiative, which, as many of you know, launched in the fall of 2025. We are so deeply appreciative to Governor Hochul and her leadership, as well as her commitment to SUNY and public higher education. It is imperative that we provide these commitments, especially to adult learners across New York. In looking at the statistics, over 4 million working adults in New York State do not hold a college degree. And of those, over 1.5 million have some college credits, but no completed degree. Currently, adults age 25 and older represent 28% of our community college student population, and that number is just growing. Nearly two-thirds of them also attend part-time. This highlights the tremendous enrollment potential that exists within this population. This initiative comes at a crucial moment, especially as New York faces a projected 27% decline in high school graduates. SUNY Reconnect helps us proactively address these demographic shifts. Next slide, please. Many of you may be aware of the initiative, but for those of you who haven't been directly involved, let me give you a quick overview of the elements of SUNY Reconnect. SUNY Reconnect is designed for New Yorkers aged 25 to 55 who have not earned a college degree and wish to pursue an associate's degree at any SUNY community college. Whether attending full-time or part-time, eligible students will receive funding that covers tuition, fees, books, and supplies, and that is applied after other forms of financial aid, much like other last dollar programs. The program is open to enrollment in certain high-demand fields only that have strong career potential and long-term growth, including advanced manufacturing, AI and cybersecurity, engineering, technology, nursing and allied health fields, green and sustainable energy, and pathways to teaching in shortage areas. We are happy to share that for the fall 2026 semester, the Governor and Department of Labor have identified 3 additional high-demand areas for Reconnect, which include air traffic control and aviation management, emergency management and fire protection, and logistics. We also know that getting these adult learners into the classroom is only a piece to the step in achieving success. That's why the program includes funding for student supports, including academic advising and degree and transfer planning. Next slide, please. And to give you an overview of the funding allocation for the 25-26 academic year, SUNY Reconnect includes the following funding. $23 million was allocated to campuses for enrolled students. This covers tuition, fees, books, and supplies. $4 million was allocated to campuses for operational support. All participating campuses submitted spending plans for their specific allocations, which I'll go into in a couple of slides. And $1 million was specifically allocated for a statewide marketing campaign implemented by SUNY System Admin. This campaign launched immediately following SUNY's announcement of the Reconnect initiative last May. We are so proud of our community college campuses for all the work they did over the summer to both plan and implement SUNY Reconnect for fall 2025, as well as quickly standing up their own marketing and outreach efforts to recruit adult learners into Reconnect. Their hard work paid off as we collectively enrolled over 5,500 students in the fall semester. Nursing and allied health programs, as you can see from this chart, have been the most popular among the adult learners, with around 56% of all Reconnect students in this program area. And as you'll see, there is also a slight majority of Reconnect students attending part-time, 55% of total enrollment for the program, which is not surprising considering the population, many of whom, as you can imagine, are juggling full-time jobs, families, and other obligations. While we do not yet have confirmed spring enrollment numbers, we're excited to see that enrollment remains strong, and we hope to see growth of adult learners taking advantage of SUNY Reconnect. An important piece of Reconnect in attracting adult learners, of course, is the availability of online programs to be able to meet the needs of their busy lives. As you can see from this slide, we currently have 40 Reconnect programs available fully online and more than 120 hybrid programs across our 29 participating campuses. These online programs touch every one of the identified high-demand program areas, with the majority being in AI, cybersecurity, and some allied health fields. We know that Reconnect students are also taking advantage of these online and hybrid options. Through the fall census data reporting, we estimate that while just under 13% of all community college students are studying exclusively online, there are approximately 32% of SUNY Reconnect students in fully online programs. Similarly, 23% of all community college students were taking some online coursework over the fall semester, while over 31% of Reconnect students are in a hybrid program, blending both online and in-person classes. We continue to work with campuses to encourage their showcasing of the availability of online and hybrid programs as a recruitment tool for Reconnect and to meet the needs of adult learners who are seeking that flexibility. We know that the early success of Reconnect is not possible without critical investments in operating supports, program improvements, and perhaps most importantly, academic and wraparound support services for our students. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, the enacted budget allocated $4 million in operating support for SUNY Reconnect, which aims to support programmatic implementation through advising, enrollment, outreach, awarding credit for prior learning, and other student supports and campus implementation needs. Participating campuses received allocations between $100,000 and $300,000 based on current enrollment capacity in the eligible program areas. In the summer of 2025, campuses received guidance for the funding and pursuant to program guidance, submitted a spending plan to our office, which was reviewed with the budget, policy, and legal teams to ensure their plans aligned with the intent of the funding. All 29 campus plans were approved for funding. Just wanted to make a quick note that FIT is not participating in SUNY Reconnect at this point as they currently do not have any eligible programs, but they are working to change that and establishing perhaps some eligible programs for future terms. The vast majority of campuses are taking advantage of the opportunity to create new or expand existing roles of advisors, success coaches, and navigators dedicated to supporting adult learners from recruitment to completion. Additionally, many campuses use the funds to provide financial incentives to current faculty and staff for expanded office hours and support services for adult students who cannot be on campus during traditional hours and need extra help, such as tutoring, financial advising, and credit for prior learning assessments and awards. Finally, the remainder of funds are generally allocated to additional marketing and outreach efforts, including targeted county-based advertising, direct mailings, and recruitment of students who may have previously stopped out. In addition to the $4 million operating aid I just mentioned that was part of the enacted budget, Chancellor King announced at his State of the University address an additional $1 million in one-time funding for Reconnect programs. Pursuant to an approved spending plan, campuses each received an additional $35,000 to invest in equipment, materials, supplies, and other one-time needs for new and existing high-demand programs to increase capacity for adult learners. 27 campuses applied for this funding and were approved, with many implementing their investments in advance of the fall 2025 semester. With these funds, campuses were able to expand high demand program capacity by more than 800 seats this academic year through expanded faculty training and capacity, new lab spaces and capacities, and critical technology and simulation upgrades, among other key investments. And to give you an example of how the funding has been used, just wanted to give you an overview in some key strategic areas. 17 campuses are expanding nursing and allied health program capacity through investments in updated simulation labs, clinical rotation software, and equipment and supplies. Another 9 campuses invested in IT, cybersecurity, and AI program expansion through new software, network upgrades, and supply purchases. 4 campuses are investing in advanced manufacturing and engineering programs. 3 campuses are expanding capacity in green and renewable energy programs. And finally, 10 campuses are using some of the funds to provide professional development for faculty and staff. SUNY is fully committed to supporting all our adult learners, whether online, in person, or both, as well as those outside of the Reconnect program. Recently, we've undertaken various initiatives that are aimed at understanding what our adult learners need and taking actionable steps to implement and scale best practices. Over the spring and summer of last year, we partnered with Achieving the Dream on our Adult Learner Leadership Initiative, or ALL. With technical advisement and coaching from ATD, 22 participating community colleges developed thoughtful and strategic action plans that focused on 3 to 4 of 8 possible evidence-based strategies to support adult learner persistence and success. It was important that these identified strategies included meaningful ways to support adult learners both in person and online. Some of those strategies included marketing and recruitment targeted to adult learners, including the development of adult-centered messaging, web pages, and resource hubs, tailored messaging to re-engage stopped-out students, and community-based marketing campaigns. The availability of academic offerings and non-academic supports, both in person and online during non-traditional hours, including weekends, was another key strategy. Many plans included implementation of flexible and extended hours and modalities for critical support services by providing advising, tutoring, financial aid, career services, and other wraparound supports in evenings, on weekends, and virtually. Creating a sense of belonging for all adult learners, regardless of their modality, was also another key strategy. About half of the participating campuses reported that they have assigned specialized advisors, success coaches, navigators, or faculty advisors to support adult learners, with some also adding technology to increase support and engagement with texting platforms, early alert systems, and digital learning tools. Additional strategies included using online and blended learning platforms, expanded use of credit for prior learning, and enhanced transparency on course schedules and priority course scheduling for adult learners. And just this month, in partnership with CALE, the Council for Adult and Experiential Learning, we kicked off a pilot with 10 community college campuses to conduct CALE's Adult Learner 360 survey this spring at no charge to the campuses. Participating campuses will administer CALE's Adult Learner 360 assessment, which includes surveys for adult learners and for faculty, staff, and administrators. Together, these surveys we hope will offer a clearer picture of institutional strengths and gaps by comparing institutional practices with adult learner experiences. Planning has just begun, and the surveys will launch just after spring break with a 4 to 6 week timeline for collecting responses. CALE will then compile and share survey data and benchmark comparisons against national institutions and the SUNY cohort with the individual participating campuses. CALE will also provide individual campus meetings to review results and focus on key strengths and priority areas for improvement, providing participating campuses with timely, actionable insights into how effective they are in serving adult learners. This will also support SUNY priorities and generate comparable data to inform system-level strategy and investment in adult learner success. We want to thank Ellen Gambino, SUNY Provost Fellow, for her leadership and partnership with this project. We are pleased that this opportunity is being provided at no cost to the participating campuses and is designed to be low burden with no required reporting or action plans. SUNY System and the Office of Community Colleges will continue to support our campuses however we can to foster the enrollment and success of all our adult learners, both through SUNY Reconnect and more broadly. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't express our sincerest thanks and appreciation to all campus staff and faculty for their continued support and expertise. And we look forward to sharing more good news and success stories as the program continues. And now I'll turn the program over to my colleague Casey O'Brien for the next part of the presentation.
Terrific. Thanks, Valerie, and good afternoon, almost evening, everyone. I'm really excited to be with you today to talk about two major programs currently underway across SUNY. That's the launch of an expansion of ASAP ACE and SUNY's Academic Momentum campaign. And because online education is the focus of this summit and a real driver of student success, we'll also be talking a bit about the role that online educators play in the success of both ASAP ACE and the success of the campaign. So just really delighted to be in your company this morning to talk about some of the exciting work happening across the system and start with a program that many of you might already be familiar with, and that's SUNY ASAP ACE, which is a transformative evidence-based program intentionally designed to boost on-time graduation rates. Key components of the program include academic, financial, and personal support that help students graduate, and more importantly, graduate on time. ASAP serves associate degree seeking students, while ACE serves baccalaureate students. And really, the story of ASAP ACE at SUNY began after a groundbreaking investment from the state of New York provided us with the capacity to launch the program across 25 campuses in spring of 2024, and that supported just over 4,200 students. It was initially supported through the Transformation Fund. And for this fiscal year, New York State enacted a budget that included $12 million in recurring funding to support the program's expansion. This allowed us to bring in 9 new campuses this past fall and expand enrollment at some of our pilot campuses. So we're now proud to support almost 7,500 students across 34 campuses, and just very delighted to see that the governor's executive budget proposal for next year includes additional funding that will allow us to realize our goal of reaching 10,000 students by fall of 2026. Next slide. The model really is based on a three-pronged theory of action. First, it's comprehensive financial support that removes any barriers to full-time study, helping students focus on their academics rather than costs that might otherwise pull them away. Second, wraparound supports that are centered on high-touch advisement, strengthening connection, belonging, and offering a consistent guidance throughout the student's experience at college. And third, structured academic pathways, including coordinated block schedules and opportunities like winter and summer course taking that help students build and maintain academic momentum. And really, it's the elements working in combination, supported by a strong use of data, which research has shown is critical to the program's success. And this map just really shows the broad geographic reach of ASAP ACE now across SUNY. We have a total of 34 partner campuses, 17 community colleges, and 17 state-operated campuses. This really reflects a system-wide effort to offer the program to students across every region of the state. And our newest campuses here are highlighted yellow. There's 9 of them, and they joined just this past fall as part of the program's continued expansion. So the model really operates as a consortium. There's shared responsibilities
SUNY helped us. How may I help you?
between the office, I think someone.
Yes.
There we go. Between the Office of Student Success and our partner colleges, with a clear division of labor to support consistency and fidelity to the model. So our office provides the shared structure, that's program expectations, data and evaluation work, standardized resources and materials for campuses. And campuses, of course, lead the direct work with students through advising, recruitment, and the day-to-day operations of the program. And this consortial model is really a partnership that allows the program to scale while maintaining fidelity to the practices that we know make it effective. ASAP ACE is now one of the most widely replicated and rigorously studied student success models in higher education. It's been replicated in multiple states with consistently positive results, and the models received national recognition, including from the Harvard Kennedy School's Innovation in American Government Award. And most importantly, really, the independent evaluations that have been done continue to confirm strong improvements in completion and student outcomes for students in the program. So across multiple evaluations now conducted in different states and institutional settings, the findings are remarkably consistent. Students who participate in ASAP-Ace complete at higher rates compared to similar students who are not in the program. Opportunity gaps narrow, particularly for Black and Hispanic male students, and both institutions and students see meaningful gains in return on investment. And because the model now has been studied and replicated in so many different environments, it gives us a field of strong understanding of what's working when institutions intentionally align the supports that they're offering around student academic progress. So really excited to share this slide. This is especially encouraging because it's showing that we're already seeing promising early results here at SUNY based on an ongoing study that we still have going with the Rockefeller Institute of Government across multiple cohorts now. ASAP-Ace students continue to attempt more credits, they're earning more credits, and they're enrolling at higher rates in subsequent semesters compared to similar students who are not in the program. So first, ASAP students are earning up to 2 more credits in their first semester. They have a 17 percentage point increase in retention from their first to second term. And ASAP students' 1-year retention rate is still 15 points higher compared to non-program peers. So that effect does not fade over time. Also, ACE students, that is our baccalaureate-seeking students, are also showing strong outcomes. Credit completion rates as high as 90%, and they're retained at 6 to 8 percentage points higher than non-program peers. And while these are still early outcomes, they do mirror the results that have been seen in other states and gives us confidence that we're on track to replicate that success at SUNY and at scale. So ASAP-Ace reflects just one example of how aligning structure, support, and expectations around student progress can improve outcomes. At the same time, SUNY is now advancing a broader system-wide effort focused on some of the same core ideas, improving retention, credit momentum, and completion, but now across all campuses. And that effort is our Academic Momentum campaign. So this campaign is a system-wide effort that many of you on this webinar are likely involved in. And it's an effort to raise student success across key areas that the research shows are most critical to the retention and completion of students. The campaign's about moving all of SUNY forward together, designed not only to improve overall graduation and retention, but also to eliminate gaps for Pell-eligible students and other demographic groups. The strategies that we'll be advancing in this campaign are those that have been found to show impact. That includes monitoring credit momentum and retention so advisors and faculty can intervene more quickly, ensuring students complete Gateway Math and English within their first year, pairing clear degree maps with consistent advisement to keep students on track, using proactive interventions. So instead of waiting for a student to ask for help, we're reaching out the moment that they might be at risk. And finally, building dashboards for both campus and system use to carefully track our progress, hold ourselves accountable, and adjust our strategies when we need to. So the campaign has been structured across 3 phases to make sure the campuses have the time and the support that they need to be successful. Phase 1 took place last summer, and that was focused on gathering baseline information to inform our development of system goals and planning materials. We started by surveying every campus to learn about the student success practices and the great work that's already happening across all of our campuses, as well as the entire system. And we then combine those survey results with historical data from IR on key metrics such as retention, completion, credit momentum, and FAFSA completion. Then use that information to draft system goals, proposed campus targets that would feed those system goals, and planning materials that campuses have used to develop unique individual action plans. Phase 2, which launched just in the fall, involved sharing those system goals, proposed campus targets, and planning materials with campuses. And beginning this semester, we were very proud to launch Phase 3, which is now in the process of reviewing all the submitted campus action plans. This phase is really about moving from planning now into action. The focus for campuses will be on supporting the fall 2026 entering cohort, where we expect to begin to see those early momentum gains with students. Our office's role is also going to shift to ongoing support through communities of practice, and recently the announced Academic Momentum Faculty and Staff Fellowship, of which 24 representatives were selected to help campuses develop and implement their chosen strategies. So we're also in the process of developing our data dashboards that I talked about, and that's going to give campuses a way to track progress and see what's working in real time. And this chart shows the system goals for the campaign. These are a shared set of goals for the fall 2026 entering cohort. And as you can see, rather than focusing on a single outcome, we're measuring progress across the full student journey, from early credit momentum, gateway course completion, to retention, FAFSA completion, and graduation. This shows where students have historically been for each of these metrics alongside the system goals campuses will contribute towards proportionally. And the goals that are shown here in the green column are intentionally ambitious, but they're also grounded in our historical performance as a system. And they're informed by input through the target setting process that we've already had with campuses. So the key idea here really is alignment. It's that every campus is working toward common system outcomes while pursuing strategies that reflect and will work most effectively for each campus's local context. So taken together, these goals really do create a shared definition of student momentum, helping students stay on track, complete their key milestones early, and ultimately graduate on time. So this slide just shows how our office is working with each campus to consider how they can best amplify and build out a set of strategies within each of the metrics. The strategies campuses decide to work on will be those that have been found to be effective based on national models and examples from our own campuses. It's not expected that campuses will implement every strategy that's listed here, but rather that planning teams will identify existing practices that could be amplified or new strategies that can be adopted. This includes things like summer bridge programs to help students build belonging and confidence before starting classes. Early alert systems, of course, remain a best practice. Credit accumulation is one of the strongest predictors of timely graduation. So many campuses are addressing it by promoting winter and summer coursework to help students hit that 30 credit benchmark in 1 year. For Gateway Math and English, we know completion of these courses in the first year is critical to academic momentum. And finally, FAFSA completion. Campuses are using text and chatbot campaigns to guide students through the process, partnering with high schools to host FAFSA completion events, and integrating FAFSA tracking into advisor dashboards so staff can intervene proactively. All of these strategies reflect the best of what's already working at SUNY and nationally. And again, the goal isn't to do everything everywhere all at once, but to have campuses identify those that will have the greatest impact based on your data, your institutional priorities, and the unique student populations that you serve. So before moving into the Q&A, I just want to finalize with this slide. One of the things that we know is critical to this work is that academic momentum is inherently tied to the modality of courses that are offered. Students can only stay on track if the courses are available in the formats that fit their lives. So for many students, particularly working students, those who care for children and adult learners, access to online and hybrid options often determines whether they can maintain full-time enrollment and continue progressing toward timely completion. At the same time, the pathways need to function consistently across modalities. Degree maps and course sequences have to be predictable so students don't lose momentum when they're moving between in-person and online coursework. And as we know, engagement looks very different online because students don't have the day-to-day campus interactions that naturally occur in person. The consistent advising, early alerts, and regular touch points become especially important to ensure that our students stay connected and supported. So in that way, making the online learning experience more accessible, more inclusive, and more effective is what makes academic momentum possible for our students. So what connects everything that you've heard today, SUNY Reconnect from Valerie, ASAP ACE and academic momentum. It's a shared focus on helping more students access a high quality SUNY education, stay on track once they're here, and ultimately graduate on time. So I just want to thank you all so much for listening to Valerie and I today. And I believe we do have some time left over to answer any questions that you have. So happy to.
Great. Thank you so much, Casey and Valerie, and nice job with time management. Um,
Right.
I do not see any questions in the chat, but does anybody have any questions? While you're thinking, I just want to say how happy I was, Valerie, to see your reference to the number of online students being supported with the Reconnect initiative. That's just so fabulous. Love to see that. And I know, Casey, in the programs that what you're doing with ACE ASAP and academic momentum, you're also thinking about online students and many of the strategies that you're suggesting, things like early alerts and degree maps and additional advising support are things we've been promoting for online students for many years. So it's great to see all of that incorporated.
Thanks, Kim, and a big shout out to Lauren McCabe, who is our Senior Director of Administration, who pulled that data for me in the presentation. We talked about what would be relevant to this group, and it's still, I think, a work in progress in getting some of that data. But it's clear that adult learners specifically need that flexibility in modality, and many of them, while they may want to be in person, it's just not possible in many
Yeah.
cases, especially in order to stay on track to
Yeah.
complete their program. So we're hearing a lot of that, and there's definitely a lot. I will also just anecdotally say that at Herkimer Community College, saw, I think it was an over 200% increase in enrollment in their cybersecurity program because it's being offered online.
Yeah.
And that's a SUNY Reconnect program that they had very low enrollment, but as soon as Reconnect was announced, they had a huge amount of enrollment. We actually met one of their online students who
Nice.
was working from the Bronx and was taking the classes online at Herkimer. So really, really great to see, how online education allows students to progress.
Yeah. So I totally agree. And we're thrilled to see it. There are some questions in the chat. And I think this relates to Reconnect. Are there any plans to include master's and doctoral programs?
So that because this is only for community colleges at the time, it's only open to associate's degrees. I think that the idea is to use this as an enrollment and economic development tool for communities. So at this point, it really is limited to associate's degrees. But you never know.
Got it. Got it. And I wasn't sure if that now was about Reconnect or if it was about ASAP ACE, but so I guess I'll just put the question to you, Casey. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, so right now the evidence-based model is rooted in serving students at the associate and baccalaureate level. There hasn't been a replication for the master's or doctorate level, but it's something that we continue to think about. We're doing our best to try to serve as many students as
Got
we
it.
can with the ASAP-based program, but right now it's just associate and baccalaureate.
Yeah, great. And that is what Simone was asking about. So thank you for answering that. When will academic momentum communities of practice be rolled out and on what platform?
Sure. So I appreciate your use of the ACMO abbreviation too. That's great that it's catching on. So right now, the communities of practice are going to be developed based on the needs that are identified in the submitted action plans from campuses. So we're putting together a matrix of whatever the greatest need might be, and we're going to group campuses based on that. Of course, we're going to give campuses the option to select which community of practice makes the most sense for them, but we will make suggestions. I will note that that right now we're convening our fellows in the next couple of weeks, and they're also going to help us to build these out. I would
Yep.
say within the next within the next month or so, we expect to get out all of our communities of practice. I will say that we've been holding a webinar series. So if that's not something that you've been looped into, I would suggest you connect with your academic momentum campaign lead on your campus. There's one at each campus. And once that person's identified, just ask them to forward you the webinar invitations, because we do encourage people from all segments of the campus to attend those as they're available.
Are the names of all of those leads identified somewhere, Casey, on a website or?
They're not currently on the website, but that's a good suggestion. So we'll make
Okay.
sure that that is put up there so that if you don't know who that is on your campus, you can look it up.
Yeah, that'd be great. And that'd be great for the SUNY Online team as well to be able to know and be able to connect people where that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'd love to have even an old school listserv for the ACMO teams. And yes, webinars are great. I will just also mention that we do have Brightspace available. And we also have supported through the CPD Viva Engage, which is the Microsoft-based platform. So there's definitely options out there, whatever makes sense for folks. Other questions for Valerie or Casey? How many years of commitment is there for SUNY Reconnect for new enrollees, or is the renewal determined by the governor each year?
So the commitment to the students is until they complete their program, regardless of whether or not the funding continues. I think there's an expectation that, of course, students have hopefully will complete within a timely period of time, but they have up to 10 semesters to do so, according to the statute. Because it is part of the executive budget, it is a year by year negotiation with the legislature. We are pleased to see the amount of enthusiasm and support both at the governor's office level as well as at the legislative level. And to see that included in this year's executive budget is an expansion of the program. So there's additional funding that the governor proposed. We're hoping to see how the legislature reacts to that this year. But there is tremendous support on both sides. And so we are confident that the program is going to just continue to grow in years to come.
Nice. That's great. Other questions or comments? All right, well, we are close to time, and let's see, somewhere here I have another slide to share, if I can figure out how to get it up here. There we go. To wind up the session. Get that there and there and share. Oh my goodness. I think I never did this before. All right. So just want to say once again, thank you to our speakers, Valerie Dent, Casey O'Brien, and to all of the participants for your time and attention during today's session. Really great updates and really good information. Just want to, I'm going to put a couple of links in the chat that are the ones that are on the slide here so that everybody has them. And want to encourage you to keep the conversation going. Where am I? There we go. If you registered by February 16th, you now have access to our companion space in the SUNY Online Summit Connect Within Brightspace. We know that some of the best conversations and questions tend to pop up after the session is over, so you can jump into discussion forums, ask follow-up questions, browse shared resources, and keep exploring the ideas we've been talking about today. Our next session, From Vision to Action in Online Learning, Empowering Distance Learning Leaders, I got to move a slide here, to Shape the Future, begins tomorrow at noon. So please join us again for another incredibly packed day with great information, presenters, and sessions. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you so much. Good to see
Thank
everyone.
you. Take care.